go through everything with us.
All right, can everybody hear me okay? Yep. So I'm Dr. Phillips. I moved up here from Texas, but I'm originally from Newton, if any of you know where Newton is. So for a long time, I worked in the architectural millwork for like 15 years doing design engineering, and I decided to go back to school to become a chiropractor and help take care of people and get them healthy. One of the reasons that I decided to do that is originally I wanted to be in the healthcare field anyway, and just kind of fell into the architectural millwork design and engineering, and decided just to get back to what I wanted to do originally. So I went back to school for another 7 years to become a chiropractor. Now, why chiropractic? What is chiropractic and what does it do? Well, chiropractors are very different than medical doctors. They have a completely different approach, and they're all about prevention and health and wellness. They're not about people being sick. They're not about curing diseases. We don't claim to cure any diseases, but yet we see people get better all the time from diseases that they have. Now, I've been specifically asked to talk more about the ergonomics in the workplace, and most of you here work in an office, probably sit at a computer all day. How many of you sit at a computer? Okay, I do have a little knowledge about that since I worked as a design engineer for 15 years and had to sit at a computer anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day. It's not an easy job to sit at a computer. How many of you have pain between your shoulders by the end of the day? Most everybody that works at a computer has pain between their shoulders. And there's a reason for that. How many of you have your monitors where you have to look down? Or you look down to type? So one of the key things that will help keep that pain away is to put your monitor at eye level so you're looking straight ahead. Is that something that can be done? I used to have 2 monitors on my desk, and so yeah, we always raise them up. And the other is you got to get up and move. Sitting all the time is just not good on the body. And so I would recommend that when you have a break, you get up, walk around for 10 minutes, because it makes a world of difference on how your body feels. The other is you're going to have to do some stretches to keep that area between the shoulders loosened up so that you don't have that pain. So one of the things that I found when I was doing a lot of computer stuff is that you'd take your arm and you'd reach back and you'd try to touch between your shoulders, and then take the other arm and then pull it back, and it helps to stretch that area out. And you do that on both sides. Or the other thing that I found very beneficial is that when you walk through a doorway like over here, is that you put your hands on the door jamb and then you just kind of lean into it for a minute, and it really pulls and stretches those muscles out in the upper back. Why would that be something that you'd want to do? I can tell you from my experience that when you don't keep that stretched and moving, is the pain gets worse. And then you get to a point that you can't sleep at night because your back's hurting. And then the other issue that I find with people that do a lot of computer work is carpal tunnel. How many people think they have carpal tunnel? Anybody get tingling in their fingers? This is real common with computer people because they have their arm rested on the
natural sound. Talk loud.
So I can turn this off?
You may turn that off. Either that or we're going to have a blank video.
They don't work half the time anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right, so back to what we're going to talk about. So there's some other things that go on in an office that can keep you from doing your job. One of those could be low back pain. It could be, the carpal tunnel. How many of you ever miss work because of stress? You just got too much stress and you decide I'm just going to stay home today. Well, they found that in the research that that's the #1 reason people stay home from work and call in sick is because they're stressed. Which is to me, it's kind of funny that we stay home from work because we're stressed and we think that's going to relieve our stress, so when we go back to work, we're not stressed. So you get back to work and you're more stressed because you're farther behind on your job. So the #2 reason that people miss work, and this goes for office workers and just all across the board, is low back pain. How many of you have low back pain? It's a lot of people in here, low back pain. What do you do for your low back pain? Chiropractic is good. How many of you take ibuprofen or some sort of drug to help relieve that pain? How well does it work?
Little.
You get a little bit of benefit temporarily, sometimes not at all. How many of you get the pain that travels all down your leg into your foot? So some of you have issues with sciatica. How does that affect your job when you're in that kind of pain? Pretty hard to come to work and get anything done. I've been there. I get that pain occasionally, which is one of the reasons I decided to get into chiropractic, is so that I could help people that have the same type of issues as I've had. So one of the things that they found very effective, and the research shows, chiropractic is the #1 best way to get out of low back pain. When people get on workman's comp because they're injured and they have a back injury, chiropractic is the #1 for getting people back to work and out of pain quickly. If you go the medical route, they put you on, some muscle relaxants, or they might put you on some painkiller to help with it, and that's pretty much all they'll do, unless there's a serious issue, and then they say, oh, you need surgery. We need to fuse the vertebrae in your low back together and your pain's going to go away. Well, they've shown that most of those surgeries fell, like over 90% of them fell within the first year, and it doesn't relieve any of their pain. Now, the research shows that if you go see a chiropractor, you're back to work within a few days, a week. Most people are back to work feeling great. So, from a healthcare standpoint with insurance and workman's comp, they love people to go to a chiropractor because they don't have to pay out as much money. It might cost you, on average, to get taken care of with a chiropractor. Some of them charge $50 a visit or $75 a visit, and within a short period of time you're back to work. When you go the medical route, it's thousands of dollars before you're back to work, and sometimes it's 2 months or longer before you're back at work, which costs a lot more money. So one of the things that we do to help people is we adjust their low back. We put their pelvis or their hips back in place, and we adjust the low back and the neck and different things so that they're mobile. Why would you want to be mobile? Why is that important?
So that you can get your 16 points.
You
You can't exercise a half an hour a day if you're not mobile.
That's true. Got to have those points to reduce that insurance rate. But there really is a reason you want to be mobile, because mobility is life. When you lose your mobility, you start losing your ability to care for yourself. You start deteriorating until the point you're 6 feet under. and you're not around anymore. And if you look out there and you look at people when they get older and their posture, and they start to go like this, and pretty soon they're like this on a cane or a walker, and then a while after like that, then they're no longer moving around, and then they die. But people that stay mobile, they live on average 15 years longer than everybody else. There was a man named Jack Blaine. He was a fitness guru. Most people know who he is that's older. A lot of people my age have no clue who he is. But a lot of people didn't know is that he was a chiropractor. And he spoke all over the world about the benefits of chiropractic and fitness and how the body needs to be mobile. So one of the things, and they probably tell you in your other meetings, you have your point systems, and I know a few people that are in my neighborhood that work for the county and they work in corrections or in the sheriff's office, but they are always complaining about the point system. And, it's there for a reason. It's there to help you guys become more healthy, and it helps them save money on their insurance. So you have meetings like this to find out what you can do. So I'm going to ask for a couple of volunteers, and we're going to do a couple of demonstrations on things. How many of you feel like you have an issue with your balance? Feel dizzy, or you feel like you lose your balance a lot? I need at least 2 volunteers for this. So.
That guy in court yesterday didn't have good balance.
He's
drunk.
Balance?
Yeah.
Why don't you jump up?
He's in handcuffs. He's in custody. He's trying to run
Scott?
around the courtroom.
Everybody
Face dives
says you
right
have
into
issues
the
with balance, so you better
defense
come
attorney's
up.
table and onto the floor.
All right, so we're going to do a little demonstration here about balance. And balance affects what you do. A lot of injuries that come in the workplace, whether it's in the office or out on the road or wherever you are because people lose their balance. So we're going to do a little demonstration here. And I'm going to start with Scott here. I'm just going to have you put your feet together like this. And then I want you to close your eyes.
Right.
So if you start watching him, you're going to look to see if he sways from one side to the other or forward or backwards. And he has a little bit of it going on. You'll see him correct it, and he'll jerk back real quick. Right, so I'm going to move his head in 4 different positions here, and we're going to see if it gets better or worse. So he still has a little bit of swaying there. That's a little bit worse. That one's a little better. And now he's narcoleptic. All right, you can open your eyes.
got that.
So you notice when his head's in different positions that he either stands completely still or he starts to move more than he was just straight ahead. So what I'm doing here is we're activating different systems here. So when you have your eyes open, most people can stay pretty balanced because your eyes won't stay level and they help you to balance. So we take that eyesight out to find out if there's another issue. So one of those issues can be the ears, and you have different canals in your ears that are where you get your balance from.
Magic crystals.
Yeah, you could say it's all magic, So when we move his head into these different positions, we're activating different parts of these canals to see if there's an issue. And that's where you get some of your balance problems from. Well, I learned from a chiropractic neurologist to do this, and when they get in a certain position like that and it's bad, So you put them in that position and you adjust the very top of their neck. And 99.9% of the time, their balance resolves and they don't sway anymore. Now, why would that be important? Yeah, you're less likely to have an injury if you're balanced. So the neck being out can cause you to be imbalanced. So we're going to do it with her now and see if hers is any worse. And I found this is that in general, women have more of an issue with this than men do. Now they can't explain why that is, but they do know that women have more of an issue with balance. So I'm going to have you close your eyes. So if you watch her, she goes a little bit backward, more than side to side. So we're going to move your head. Now you'll notice that she's got a lot more sway in this position. And you always know when it's really bad because they'll catch themselves. We're going to go to the other side. It's not as bad. And then down to that side. So she has an issue there too. So you can stay up here for a minute. We're going to do a little demonstration with this. So I brought a cold laser with me. How many of you have ever heard of cold laser? So we got one person. Have you ever experienced a cold laser? So I do a lot of different things with the laser. One of the things that the laser is going to do is it's going to help her balance. So we're going to laser a couple of areas here, and then we're going to check her balance again. And it's a cold laser, so it's not going to hurt you at all. So I'm just going to put the laser on the back of her neck here for about 30 seconds and see if we get any improvement. Yeah, some people say they can feel it. Most people don't feel anything at all. They call it a cold laser because it doesn't produce heat. A lot of people are familiar with the other type of lasers that produce the heat and can cut metal or carve things into wood or etch things into glass. So this one doesn't do any of that. It just puts a signal into the body, and it basically puts a signal into your cells to activate things in the cells so that your body will heal. With what we're doing right here, it's activating muscles. All right, now I want you to close your eyes again, and I'm actually going to have you take a step forward. We don't want you to cheat with the table. So you notice she still has a little bit of sway there. We're going to turn her head. And now she's not swaying in this one. Now the one that was real bad is when we look up. Does that feel different? She's not swaying at all now. That was the other one that was bad, is to that side and down. Now you notice the swing has gone way down, and in some cases completely gone. Just from doing a simple 60 seconds on the laser. You can sit down now.
So how long are the effects of the laser supposed to last?
It depends on the person. There's other things that you can do. Like you had some balance issues, so I'm going to have you come back up and we're going to do something different with you.
I'm going to use the laser every time I go skateboarding.
So, well, you know, you can talk about that. So, how many of you know who Lance Armstrong is? And he won all these Tour de France's, and now they say, you know, drugs and doping and all this stuff. Well, a lot of people don't know that he had cancer, and different things, and he started doing these bike tours, and it helped him to beat his cancer. Well, in all of this, he had a chiropractor that he would use, and the chiropractor used this cold laser, and they would do treatments with it. And so, at every stop, they would put the cold laser on him and they would adjust him. Well, you know, for most people, they wouldn't have a clue what he was doing, but it's kind of an unfair advantage to somebody that hasn't had that done, because the cold laser will activate those muscles that are tired and make them so they're not so tired. And when I was in school, we demonstrated this. We had some guys that we had them do a bunch of push-ups, and then we put the cold laser on them for 30 seconds, and then have them do push-ups again, and they could do more push-ups after the laser than they could without it. And so a lot of your fitness people are very into the cold laser. A lot of your professional athletes use cold laser to get them back on the court or back onto the field a lot quicker. I'm going to show you another way that you can activate things. So I'm going to have you put your feet together. And we're going to notice which way he sways against. Close your eyes. All right. Move your head again. So he tends to go to the right. He falls a little bit to the right. So we're going to have him do something else. Have you open your eyes. I want you to take this arm, and I want you to swing it backwards, and I want you to count from 20 down to 0 when you do it. So 20, 19. Count out loud.
18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 12, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, now I want you to close your eyes again, and I'm going to move your head to this side. How's that feel?
About the same.
How does it look to you guys?
A little better.
He's not nearly swaying like he was.
Is that because he was wound up too tight? Or?
No. Yeah, see. I'm going to explain why this works. So what happens when you're unbalanced and you feel dizzy or you feel off balance is that you have a brain imbalance. So our hands, our feet, everything, we have nerves that travel everywhere in our body, and they have receptors in them that kind of tell us where we're at. So you can close your eyes and I can move your arm and you can tell me what position it was in, because your nerves tell you that. So what happens is that they fire and they go to the brain, and the brain says, okay, this is where you are, or this is where I think you are. And so when you have that imbalance, the brain is having trouble recognizing where you are. And so what we're doing is we're firing these pathways to that side of the brain that's having trouble. And it activates the muscles on that side, and so you stand more steady. It's kind of a little bit of a trick, so to speak, because we're just telling the brain to fire a pathway. Well, with chiropractic adjustment, I can do the same thing, is it fires a pathway to that side of the brain that's weak, and it helps to balance it out. And then you stay more balanced, and after a while, you are balanced because your muscles remember where they're supposed to be. How many people know somebody with ADD or ADHD? Most people do. Anybody in here?
Okay, you're right, maybe Cody.
What if I do, huh?
So most people that have the attention deficit disorder or the hyperactivity, they have a brain imbalance. It's not that they really have ADHD, it's their brain's imbalance. And so one of the things that I found in working with people that have this is that almost all of them have issues with their balance. I had some kids back in Texas that I worked with that had it, and you'd have them get up and stand up, and they couldn't do the eyes closed thing at all. They would literally fall over. And then as you work with them and progress, you get them to where they can stand on one leg, and then they can go and bend and all this, and they're balanced. But when they have the ADHD going on, they can't do that at all. So why the difference? When they get adjusted, we're just firing these pathways to the brain that are weak, and it strengthens it, and it gets rid of the issue. It's like that for most things, that there is an imbalance in the brain. There's some communication problem. So that's one of the things that I work with people, is to get them balanced out. So how does that help in the workplace? It goes back to, if you have your balance, you're less likely to get injured. You're less likely to have the carpal tunnel if you stay adjusted and mobile. It's when you become immobile that you start having that pain. So you get that pain between your shoulders, it's because those vertebrae aren't moving. And generally that's because you're looking down. When your head is upright and it's over your shoulders, there's about 12 to 16 pounds of pressure on the neck. So when you go this way, it changes from 12 to 16 to about 50 pounds pressure. And so you feel it at the back of your neck, right at the top, right there between the shoulders. And that's why you start getting stiff there, you start getting sore. Is because the muscles are trying to activate to hold your head. And that's why moving the monitor up and keeping your head up alleviates that problem. And then you have your different, keyboards and stuff. You don't want them up too high because they cause issues, and you don't want them down too low because that causes issues. So what do? Where's the best place to have it? Well, your arms are bent, and so when they're bent and straight out, you have less problems. So you want to have your keyboard so that your arm stays at a 90 and you can keep your elbows in and it supports. So there's little things like this that you can do that will help keep you healthier. Now, at my office, we also have a different kind of laser than this. I have one that's called a Zerona, and it has 5 laser heads on, and it looks kind of like an octopus. And it's been featured on Dr. Oz and NBC News, and a bunch of the TV things have had it on there. But it's specifically designed to help people lose weight. And the company that makes it gives a guarantee that people in 6 to 9 treatments will lose a minimum of 3 to 6 inches off their waist, or they total it up, they measure in different areas. And we were at the Home and Garden Show, at the fairgrounds here a few weeks ago, and I demonstrated it there, had a lot of people come in, talk to me about it. And there was a lot of people who came by my booth, and their comments just surprised me. They would tell me that this was just too good to be true, that it was just too far out there, that it was just science fiction, and there's no way it could work. Well, we've had people come in, and we've given them the treatments, and we've had a person lose in 2 weeks about 24 inches total of fat. I've had other people in that have lost 3.5 inches total. Why the difference? Everybody's different, and everybody reacts to things differently, but you still, doing these treatments, you have to do certain requirements to get the best benefit. One of those is nutrition. There are certain supplements that we put people on that help process fats out of the body. And then you have to have some exercise. And it's not that you need the exercise for the laser to work, because it will work whether you exercise or not. The reason we have people exercise is because we want them to get in a healthy lifestyle. And the more active you are, the more you're going to lose. Now, I have people that have been on it that have not exercised and they don't follow the nutrition they're supposed to. They still lose weight. They still lose inches. But do they keep it off? No. The key to being healthy is to keep that off. And so we offer these laser treatments, and if you go to a lot of the bigger cities like Salt Lake, because there are people there that have this laser and do it, they charge anywhere from $3,000 to $4,500 for these treatments. Now, where I'm at, up in Tremont, or even down here in Brigham City, most people are not going to pay that kind of money to do this. So I offer it at $900 for 9 treatments. Now, I do this for a reason, because there are people that really need to lose the weight and they have a hard time. They've been to the gym, they work out, and they don't lose.